Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another game of the International Rugby November matches, and this one, it is Scotland hosting the Tongans. Now, this is actually Tonga's first match of the November Internationals. They've been a little bit quiet compared to a majority of the November or international sides in general, but for Scotland, they have played up against the All Blacks. They have played up against Argentina. That is a game that they would much rather forget, other than, of course, how it started in that contest, but now they get a chance to finish their November on a high, try and get themselves the win over the Tongans here. But looking through at the starting lineups, first of all for the Scottish, it is Rory Sutherland in the front row alongside George Turner and Xander Fagerson, slotting in as the number 3. Alex Samuel and Max Williamson, they will be the locking duo for this contest. So a couple changes compared to what we have been seeing from the Scots. No Grant Gilchrist in the starting lineup for this contest, and he also won't be making his way off the bench. In the number 6 jersey, it is Andy Onyema Christie. I always mess up the first part of that man's name, but I know it is Andy Christie, but I always get that little middle bit a little bit wrong. Jamie Ritchie alongside Magnus Bradbury in that number 8 jersey. Ben White and Fergus Burke will be the 19 combination, so we don't see Finn Russell for this contest. Duan Whanamurva returns into the starting lineup. Out on the left wing, Sione Tuipulotu and Ollie Smith. They will make up the midfield pairing with Kyle Rowe and Tom Jordan there as the number 15. In the starting lineup for the Tongans, it is Fisi Ahoy alongside Sula Mai and Ben Tame Funa, slotting in at number 3. He seems to be a guy that, no matter what side you go for, you don't mind Tame Funa. He's one of those players that he really just goes out there, throws the weight around, and tries his absolute best for this Tongan side. In the locking duo, it is Mataeli alongside Polinaiti in that number 5 jersey. Sabisi Paya slotting in at 6. Moala at 7. And then Lotu Anisi. He has been a standout. And one of those players that when you look at him in Super Rugby, you just know he's going to be strong. Now, he did suffer a bit of an injury that left him out for a majority of one of the most recent seasons. But anytime he gets the ball in hand, you can certainly see the impact that he's able to bring. Fini Anisi, his brother, will be in the midfield alongside Solomoni Kata. Then in that 19 combination, it is Tane Takalua and also Patrick Pellegrini. He is an outstanding player, and I would have loved to see Pellegrini versus Finn Russell. I feel like they both have that attacking style that would just make it a very entertaining battle. Philemoni out on one wing. Out on the other wing, it is Tapueluelu. And then at number 15, William Havili close out the Tongan starting lineup. Looking through at the chat, we have got there just beat that spread. Tonga says tick push there. So what is the spread for this one? That's normally the handicap that they are given at the start of the contest. I wonder what it would be for this game. I know that Tonga do come in as quite large underdogs for this game up against Scotland, but I'd say if it wasn't for the fact that they haven't played any rugby throughout November as of yet, then, you know, they would be a lot closer. And this contest, come on, Scotland, says Richard there. And also, do you have any procrastination techniques? Really need to prepare, yet I'm just beard rotting all day. Do you have any procrastination as in, like, to stop procrastinating, right? I would say get out of bed. And then, I guess, just let us know where you're at halftime in terms of how far through your stuff that you got to do. Because rugby matches, theoretically, if you aren't watching them yourself and you're just listening to me, you've actually got 40 minutes or so that you can use to get stuff done. So see whether or not it works. It probably won't. I feel like I'm terrible at motivating people, but give it a go. See what happens. Good afternoon. How are you, Hamish? When they announce the team for the World Cup in the South, is it on Tuesday or Wednesday? So it will be a Wednesday for us here in New Zealand, and I believe it is a Wednesday for you guys in South Africa as well. I've actually learnt the exact time that it has taken place. I believe the show for it does start at 10 p.m. New Zealand time, so that will be 11 a.m. South African time on Wednesday. We have got there, you sound raspy. Did you have a wild day out? Not exactly. We did about that 9 hours or so of live streaming yesterday. Pretty much all back to back. So I think that that's affected the voice a little bit. How are Tonga winning the poll? It's a good question. Honestly, like, Tonga come in as big underdogs. Obviously, some people want to see the Tongans cause that upset. And perhaps the thing is, I don't even know if it's just Tongans who are thinking that Tonga are going to win, or whether it is people who have seen, like, Scotland from last week and just said, nah, they're not going to be able to play the 80 minutes. I'd like to think that they'll be able to fire back in this game. Looking forward to seeing what the Tongans can do, says Patrick. And yeah, I think there'll be a little bit of a slow start in this contest, but once they get going, could be quite an entertaining side. Watch here at Murrayfield. We have got there, I have to pack up and head up north. I have like 18 hours till my flight leaves. So what do you have to do beforehand other than packing up? Is it like packing up as in like to move north, or like you're going on a holiday up north? Because I feel like that's very different, isn't it? You try going for a walk. It's hard to say sleepy when you're active with the wind in your face, says Big Rig. And if Tonga defeats Scotland, I'll eat my hat, says Big Rig. Just get out of bed. Dr. Hamish quotes, and afternoon Hamish, a nice mix of Northern and Southern Hemisphere wins yesterday. I think Scotland got it today. I'd like to think that Scotland, even with a few changes that they have made, they should be pretty handy when it's Rassi announcing his team for Saturday against Wales, says Mohaddin. I haven't heard as of yet. I'll have a quick look while the Scottish national anthem is being played, Flower of Scotland, and hopefully an exciting game. I think it will be. I think that both of these sides will go out there and just go for it. Hopefully, anyway. Fingers crossed. One of these two games today, I'm hoping, will be absolutely incredible. I said hope about 7 times in a row there. We have got there. Hey, friend, what are your thoughts on the future of Italian rugby? Honestly, I think Italy are going all right at the moment. They've got a decent-looking side, and I'm not too sure about their under-20s. I haven't really read up on that side of things, but, you know, their senior side, there aren't many weak links across that starting 15, which I feel like is something that they've been able to develop throughout the last few years. But honestly, I hope to see Italy in the round of 16 of the Rugby World Cup. It would be incredible if they made it through to the quarterfinals in 2027, and quite a statement for Italian rugby. But I'd like to think they can only get better from here. But then, saying that, like, Chile actually, they did pretty well in that game, the Chileans. I was thoroughly impressed. And thanks, mate. No worries at all. Wales played their best rugby in ages yesterday, in my opinion. Yeah, they did pretty well up against the All Blacks. The way they were able to fire back, get the 3 tries for Tom Rogers, was thoroughly impressive. And Ben Tamefuna, the biggest man in rugby, says Yanni there. And good morning, says Nov Mum. Welcome in. Hope you're doing extremely well. But the 2 national anthems for these sides have been sung. We are just about to get underway. So, of course, do let me know who you think will be winning this contest. There is another match just around the corner. That is going to be the contest between the English and the Argentines. Surprised with Chile? Yeah, like, they were able to beat Samoa in their Rugby World Cup qualification match. From there, they were able to be competitive up against the Italians. And I think it was pretty awesome that they even had that game. Because originally it was going to be Samoa, but due to Chile getting that qualification, it meant that they rescheduled and Chile got to play that match, which kind of told them where they're at and where they need to be heading into that next Rugby World Cup. Chile are starting to play well. What do you say? Yeah, I do say that. I think that they're taking a step in the right direction. And I'm hoping a few of those real low underdog teams by 2027 are going to have some competitiveness about them for the World Cup. Stream died, says Big Rig. Was it just for yourself or for everyone, I wonder? Good evening, mate. From a Scotland fan listening in Taiwan, says Steve. And also, Italy used to be the whipping boys in the men's Six Nations, but now they are a team to watch. They've gotten better and better, says Richard. And also got to be a rare club. Welshman scoring Patrick against the All Black, or a hat-trick. Yeah, I think someone mentioned last time JPR Williams back in about 1974 was the last time that we saw it happen for the Welsh. But Sonatane Takalua pre-match taking place for the Tongans. They are fired up for this match. Murrayfield absolutely loving it. I will mention it looks like there's a little bit of rain falling in Scotland for this fixture. There might be a few handling errors. Tonga did have a few throughout their Pacific Nations Cup matches, but then saying that, Scotland at times were a little bit shaky in their last game up against the Argentines. They started absolutely phenomenally, but the last thing that they will want in this game is any sort of card, because we did see the massive impact that it had on them the last time that they did play. No Blair Kinghorn for this contest, no Finn Russell, so a couple big switches in that back line. But these are Tonga's matches so far throughout 2025. They were able to beat the Samoans. That was a big one for them and kind of started the whole big stage for the Samoans in terms of Rugby World Cup qualification. They left it as late as physically possible to be able to qualify. Tonga, they were then beaten by Fiji. They were beaten by Japan, but they did get themselves the win over the Canadians, the 35 points to 24, and actually, theoretically, coming into this game with 1 win under their belt, and they're trying to make it 2. They do get themselves the win here up against the Scottish for Scotland so far in the November Internationals. A massive win over the USA, 85-0, so that was quite a statement victory there from the Scots. They were close up against New Zealand, and some would even argue they did deserve to win that contest with how they played. And then that game up against Argentina, they were leading by such a hefty margin and Los Pumas. They just found their rhythm. Sione Tuipulotu standing off with the Tongans before the match as well after the national anthems. Just that power game. It is certainly going to be prominent out there on the field today. But Scotland trying to answer back after that last performance. England versus Argentina is an interesting one later. How's it, Hamish? CSCP from Cape Town? Yeah, should be a fantastic game. At least hopefully. I keep on saying hopefully because, I mean, we had 3 matches yesterday that theoretically should have been incredible matches, and I feel like only maybe one of them was. So I'm hoping that we do get to see some great rugby today as well. But yeah, England-Argentina, that game for me, at the start of the round, I felt like had a great opportunity of being match of the weekend, and I kind of hope it is. I've said hope again. I'm saying hope far too much on this stream already. Howdy, Hamish. Go Tonga. Says it was there from Ruby. And g'day, Hamish in chat. Says, hey, no, welcome in. Go Tonga. Says, Tol Tala there. And they going to crush Tonga if they are consistent, says Philip. And yeah, the fact that we haven't seen Tonga play any rugby since that last game up against the Canadians tells you that they should be a little bit rusty. But we will have to wait and see. Fergus Burke kicking off from left to right for Scotland, and we're underway for their last match of the November internationals. For Tonga, it is their first and their last for November, but a big run forward straight away from Lotu Anisi. I mentioned about the way that man runs the ball and how dangerous he can be with it in his grasp, but that is a good kick downfield from Havili. Close to putting that ball into touch for Tom Jordan, but manages to show off some fancy footwork to keep the ball in the field of play, tackled by Tame Funa. Scotland 35 metres out from the Tongan line, almost breaking through, but it is a low tackle made by Samisi Paya. Shifting away to the right-hand side, George Turner manages to find his offload. Now Ben White moves it away to the left. Scotland looking to play this game at a high tempo already. And Hamish, your prediction, please. I'll go 15 in favour of Scotland, but I'd love to see it be closer. Was the ref really bad? I didn't watch the game. What were your thoughts? Do you have a video on it? Which ref are we talking about? Katzenau now back across to George Turner. It is his 50th match they have mentioned there for Scotland. Big collision there on Max Williamson. They've got the changes there. No Grant Gilchrist for this matchup. Little step attempted by Kyle Rowe, but early tackle made from Tonga. Now nice pass across. Ben White, from both ways, decides to go again into the hands of Alex Samuel. It's good defence at the moment from the Tongans, and that was actually something that they did extremely well in their first game up against Samoa in the Pacific Nations Cup. They were a lot more defensively sound than people were expecting. Hamish, you're biased, you always back the Scots. The Scots are the favourites in this game, so it kind of makes sense to back them, doesn't it? Going off to the right-hand side. Now looking to pass it just a little bit more infield, and that was almost a turnover for Ben Tamefuna. Now Ben White passing across to Sione Tuipulotu. I think he's realistic, says Ruby Tuesday. We have got there, won't be surprised if you're wearing a kilt there. Another penalty goes the way of the Scottish. 2 minutes into the contest. This one's an easy 3 points if they want it. And 62 points to 17, says Philip, for his prediction. And did Australia lose all their games in November? What is their ranking? They're currently ranked 7th, which I mentioned at the start that is kind of where I wanted them to be, because it then means that more than likely we're going to get an epic opening contest of the Rugby World Cup in 2027, where they will have to go up against one of the top 6 sides. I miss URC at this point. The URC is coming back next week. We do have a South African derby taking place, and then also 2 other matches involving the South African sides up against... They're the later games anyway. I can't think of who they're actually up against yet. And while I now have an 18-year-old, says Jasmine, did you find one? I now have an 18-year-old. I assume you're saying because it's his birthday and he was 17 maybe? Or you just randomly found one and he turned up. Now going off to the left-hand side. Looking to get the ball in the breakdown. Tell you what, Ben Tamefuna was all but on there, but I think he just missed it initially. Going off to the left-hand side. Ben White. Sione Tuipulotu shovels the ball on to the outside to Ollie Smith. Only Scotland, they have had a majority of the possession throughout the early stages of this contest, but so far, Ikale Tahi have not allowed them to break through. Big tackle made by Lotu Anisi. Now White again, Back across, Sione Tuipulotu finds Fergus Burke. Little short pop pass to the hands of Kyle Rowe. Tackled low, and Pellegrini drives him into touch. Brilliant defence from the Tongans in the early stages. A Rugby World Cup draw will be streamed, Hamish. I think it's going to be streamed on Stan. I want to say it will be on YouTube as well, but we will end up doing a watch-along for it in terms of letting you guys know exactly who is in which group. So 10 p.m. on Wednesday, the 3rd of December for us here in New Zealand. 11 a.m. for you guys in South Africa. And then I believe it will be 10 a.m. for some of you guys in the UK. In terms of the time, my son turns 18 today. I feel old, says Jasmine there. And are you doing Stormers game Saturday? More than likely we will be, yes. I'm not sure whether or not they're an early game or a later game as of yet. I think they're one of the teams who are playing a side outside of South Africa, aren't they? Or at least playing a non-South African team that they are facing. Do you think that Ireland need to make wholesale changes? Not really. Like, it was a pretty stacked Irish lineup on paper, but no side that has 5 cards in a game is going to win a contest. Is this 15 versus 15 on the field? At the moment it is. Hopefully that is the way that it stays. But Pellegrini, now kicking that one into touch. I kind of mentioned about it. If you told the Irish they were going to get 5 cards and only lose by 11, you'd probably say, that's pretty decent. You know, but then I mentioned about it in the review as well. That game for South Africa, in the second half anyway, wasn't about scoring points. It was about making a statement. And I feel like they did do that in the match at the Aviva. Oh, double blow of the whistle. Uh-oh, we got a TMO check. What is this one going to be for? I bet you it's up against the Tongan player. They like a bit of physicality. Right, going against Samisi Paya here, that they will be checking it. Rugby League World Cup going to be gangster. New Zealand in good shape to take it. Yeah, I did see that the opening contest of that World Cup is going to be New Zealand versus Australia. So honestly, that is the same type of matchup as we could see as the opening match of the Rugby World Cup. Right, Samisi Paya. Falls over the top of the breakdown. Misses the clean out initially and then lands onto the limb. So he goes for the clean out. Oh, he does fall on the knee. I don't know if it was completely on purpose from Samisi Paya there. He did definitely lose his footing. I think he got a bit of a shove from behind from, I think it was Ben Tame Funa. It's going to meet the yellow card threshold, just as we were saying, 15 on 15. We have got there, I think, drop at least half the starting squad for Ireland. That's over 30. And start new players, give the Six Nations Championship a miss and concentrate on the squad, expanding the selection. So here's James there. And that Feinberg guy makes my blood boil. He is very nifty. So here's Katzenel. Right, so it is going to be Samisi Paya who will make his way off of the field with a yellow card. We're only 5 minutes through in this matchup as well. No warning, says Ben Tame Funa. But yeah, they call it cynical enough that they do take him now off the field for the next 10 minutes. It's Fundermerva going to score for Scotland. He's got a decent chance out on that wing. He will be fired up as well, seeing as he has been used at times more as an impact player off the bench for the Scottish. Yeah, but the top 2 of the pool are going through to the semis. Says Yanni there. Yeah, I think pretty much the gist of what I've heard and the kind of feedback from that draw is it's set up so that New Zealand play Australia in the final. But I hope that's not the case. I hope that we see either a Samoa or a Tonga or maybe an England or someone like that make their way through as well, just for a little bit of something different. Now, I know that New Zealand versus Australia wasn't the final last World Cup, but like it would be nice to see a North versus South or a Pacific Island side versus, like, I think pretty much everyone's picking the Aussies already to make it through to the final. That's going to be a knock-on from Scotland, but the penalty advantage against the Tongans at scrum time. It's a busy game next for you on Rugby Game. Says Mohaddin, based on the band of teams for Australia, possibility of South Africa, New Zealand, England, Ireland, France in their group. Says Cape Town. But yeah, because of the fact that Australia are outside of that top 6, it means that they will have someone in that top 6 in their group, which is great, and they probably would have anyway. Well, not really, actually. If they were top 6, they would have had someone between 7 and 12 in their group. But it means that they can do similar to what we saw for the Rugby World Cup in 2023. They can put a massive game like in Australia versus England if they're in their group, or, you know, Australia-New Zealand, or anything like that. Whoever ends up in that group, that should be the opening contest of the World Cup, I feel, just to to really get people interested from the get-go. Ben White trying to get the rolling ball going, but Scotland just a couple metres out from the try line. Oh, a little bit of a juggle with the ball there for Rory Sutherland. But Scotland in a good position on the park with just another 8 minutes remaining of that Tongan yellow card. They will want to make an impact while they can here, Scotland. And multiple tries scored against them last week when they received their yellow card. It is another penalty advantage. That one is so close to the line for Max Williamson, but again, just a couple inches away. Ben White fighting to try and get his feet underneath him. He's getting put under pressure. There's another penalty advantage. Ben White shuffle there from Fergus Burke. He's going to back himself the Scottish 10. And he's held up, so they will go back for another penalty in favour of Scotland. Keep in mind that the new format includes a round of 16. Don't forget that's SCP. That is true. I don't really like it. I'll be honest. I would like a round of 16 if there were 32 teams. It's a bit weird, similar to the Sevens, having the top 4 third-place teams get to go through. So more than likely, those sides will have negative in terms of points differential and everything like that, but still qualify. So a bit of a lifeline type of situation for them. But yeah, I feel like if they were going to do that, they could have just made it 32 teams. Give sides like Belgium, who were thoroughly deserving of at least getting close to that World Cup, a side like Brazil seem to be coming a long way. Oh, that's close to the line, but just dragged down short again. Picked up by Tui Pelotu, trying to reach out. And it's a penalty to Tonga, 5 metres out from the line. That is huge for this Tongan side as they have somehow managed to survive the Scottish attack. And Tonga holding them back. And do you think South Africa will play in the final in the World Cup? They've probably got a decent chance. 2031 will be 32 teams. So, yeah, it just seems like a long time to wait, doesn't it? But hopefully those sides that were right on the cusp of making their way through, like Belgium and whatnot, they do continue to improve, heading towards that 32-team one. But, yeah, I assume the only reason they didn't go 32 this time was because it was a bit late notice in terms of organising the qualification matches and everything like that. Where's Finn Russell? He is not playing in this contest. He has been left out. Same with someone like a Blair Kinghorn. Matt Ferguson's not playing in this contest either. Who else isn't playing in this game? Jack Dempsey, he's not there. George Horn isn't. Oh, that's going to be nicely taken by Scotland there. So managing to get the line out still in the early stages. Belgium, Netherlands are improving as a rugby nation. Yeah, I've been thoroughly impressed with some of those European sides in terms of that match between Belgium and Samoa. Samoa, don't get me wrong, were awful throughout that matchup and didn't really deserve to win it, but Belgium held their own well and truly. That's a beautiful backline movement. Now Christie cutting on the inside, looks for the offload, finds it to Ollie Smith, now 5 metres out from the line again for Scotland. They just made about 40 metres off only 1 or 2 phases. Now Ben White. Again, ball's going to be there. Sione Tui Pelotu, short ball, can't reach out, just a bit too far for Magnus Bradbury's arm. And now across to Jamie Ritchie. He gets over and Scotland get their first try of the contest. It's your birthday today before the announcing. It is, yeah. So I haven't got anything planned for it at the moment. I don't think I'll really have a chance to do anything for it. It's a very busy couple of weeks. Unless I can somehow find a way of getting like a day off and sneaking away somewhere, but then more than likely it would only be able to be for a day because I'd have to come back for the Rugby World Cup draw. And Ashman should have a huge impact off the bench, says Calibrate Games. And also, good morning, Hamish, says Tai Trini Queen. Welcome in, I hope you're doing extremely well. The rankings at stake for this game, says Cited. They are for Tonga, not for, well, Tonga can gain from this game, Scotland cannot. They can't actually get any form of points from this game, but if Tonga were able to win this match, I believe they would actually boost themselves up 4 world ranking spots and go up to 14th in the world. So a lot on the line for Tonga, but for Scotland, they just have to make sure that they win it. And that kick from Fergus Burke is successful. 11 minutes into the contest, and now Scotland leading at home 7-0 with still the man advantage for the next 4 minutes. And go Scotland, says Tai Trini. And also I said there's a Richie and Scottish team. And Richie the Bomb says Ruth. And there too. And what have you eaten, Hamish? I had an up and go, which I don't know whether or not that's a global thing or whether it's just a New Zealand and Australia thing. It's pretty much like a liquid drink that's the equivalent to having like Wheat Bix and milk in just a drinkable form. And I also had some chips. Oh no. So Messi Paya, he's had his yellow card upgraded to a red card here. So he will be off the field for 20 minutes. He doesn't know it yet. And yeah, it's a bit of a rough one. He was actually told, I believe, by someone to get on the bike and get ready to make his way back onto the field. And now he's just found out that he's received the red card. So he went for the clean out. Oh yeah. It doesn't look good from that angle, and it could have been much worse for George Turner's limbs, but I don't think anyone wanted to see another game that was less than 15 on 15. Bloody ridiculous refereeing, says JG. And also, what do you think of the World Cup as a FA Cup type of tournament? First game is a round of 32. Next one, round of 16. Round robin, it's called, I think. I think they'd always want the group stage in the Rugby World Cup. And I do feel like it's a bit similar to what you see for the FIFA World Cup as well, how they normally do have those group stage matches to help with qualification. Was it a yellow threshold? So yeah, it did end up taking him off the field for the 10 minutes, and then his yellow got upgraded to the red card. And so Tide, super refereeing. Love the Kiwi pronunciation of chips, says Ty Trini Queen. Now, going to the left-hand side here, Ben White. Scotland, they want to make the most of that man advantage for the next 12 and a half minutes. Then from there, the Tongans can bring on a man. Chips or crisp, Hamish. So we're very basic-minded in New Zealand. So the equivalent of, nice take from Duan Fundamu. We'll come back to that in a very short moment as that man has broken the line. Looks for the offload on the outside. Gives it to Bradbury. It's only a couple metres short of the line. Now Ben White. Skip pass, nice offload, and it's another try for Scotland. This time, George Turner is the man who crosses the try line in his 50th. Time check, please. At the moment, it is 13 minutes through the contest. Exactly now, 13 minutes in. And yes, says Ty Trini Queen, and my dream is to meet you, says Mohaddin. And also, we'll get there. Come on, Scotland lad, Duan is starting, and now he has helped set up a try there under the high ball, taking it very nicely. One of the aerial challenge. Up against, I want to say that it was John Tipueluelu. Flower of Scotland, says Caliphate Gaming. Or Games, I should say instead. And George Turner reaching out and managed to score it. But yeah, so pretty much what people call fries overseas, like as in hot chips, hot fries. You don't really say hot fries for fries though. But here in New Zealand, we call them chips. For what some people call crisps, we call chips. What other types are there? We pretty much just call everything chips. But if you're saying chips as in like the hot food, you just go hot chips. I'm having some hot chips rather than some, or some would add potato chips for crisps, but no, we just say chips. And, you know, it just confuses people. Wales ranked 12th. What? Says CP from Cape Town. Poker chips. We call them chips too. I once went to I was going to tell a story, but it's completely irrelevant, so you guys probably don't care. Wood chips, we call them wood chips as well. What other types of chips are there? Can't think of any. But now, kicked off, nicely taken by Bradbury. I call both chips, says Ty Trini Queen. Kettle chips, says CP. Yeah, so like we've got the kettle cut chips and whatnot as well. Thick cut chips, thin cut chips. Just chips. Slap chips? What are slap chips? That sounds fancy. Oh, is that when you put like stuff on? Loaded fries, we call them actually. We don't call them loaded chips. We call them loaded fries if you've got like stuff on top of them. Now, another penalty going the way of Scotland. 15 minutes into this contest. Good afternoon, Hamish. Apologies. I'm late. How you doing today? Says Philip. Doing all right. Running off less sleep than I did plan to. But that's not the end of the world. We are used to it. Slap chips. And crinkle cut chips, paint chips. Says Stephanie, there's a lot of types of chips. Good afternoon, mate. Says Bleaching, welcome in. And chips on the shoulder. Says Yarn in there too. This one's put into touch by Scotland. Do you think the over 63.5 will hit? That's a lot of points. Oh, that wasn't straight. From the Scottish. Honestly, I have no idea. Like, I thought we were going to see a slightly higher scoring game yesterday than one of the matches, and it wasn't. And then in one of the other games that I thought was going to be low scoring, it wasn't. So I wouldn't trust what I say. Now scrum feed for the Tongans. Way I can tell an Oz from a New Zealander is the pronunciation of E in words such as test match, because test match as often becomes I. What did I say? Did I say test match or test match? Tell you what, there was a very, very short test match for the first match of the Ashes. 2 days. That's all it went. Tonga have the massive pack weight advantage of 964 kgs compared to just over the 900 for the Scottish. Those are insane calf muscles there from Sonatane Takalua. They have zoomed in and the commentators are talking about them as well. Those are hefty looking calves. Chip shot in golf, says Stephanie. How do you reckon this game is going to go with the refereeing this time? Well, we've already seen a red card and we're only sitting 16 minutes and a half through in this contest. Thick cut potato fries that are soft and floppy rather than crispy. The name slap comes from Afrikaans word for soft or limp. Oh, okay. So it's like a thick cut potato fry that's floppy. So like a floppy chip. Now going off to the right-hand side, Scotland 40 metres from their line is like sloppy chips. They are not browned or crispy. But I assume you eat them hot, right? They'll be like hot, almost like soggy chips, I guess. Oh, nice run through the gap there for Tom Jordan. Cutting through the Tongan defence. And has made a very nice tackle there. Patrick Pellegrini also locking over the ball, managing to win the turnover for Tonga. Are we have their favourite Scottish player? Oh. See, I'm normally a fan of Matt Fagerson. I'm not sure why. He just kind of stands out as one of those players who you just notice quite a bit. I also like what George Horn does when he's out there on the field. In terms of this starting lineup for them, I'd probably go with Tui Pelotu, just because I like that bit of aggression and bit of power that he comes with. Does two Reds in rugby actually mean they got two less people than Scotland right now? So the yellow card became a red. So because of that, it's just the same guy who was off for 20 minutes. And then in 6.5 minutes, they can replace him, just not with him coming back. Yes, with salt and vinegar the best. So here's CP. Now line out throw for Seulamari. That one wasn't straight. Oh, referee says that is close enough, though. A collision around the halfway line for Siosio Moala. I wouldn't trust a word I say, Hamish quote, says Naz Williams. Well, I just wouldn't, though. Like, I'm terrible at predictions, as you guys know. Yes, hot, soggy chips, often eaten with vinegar. But, like, they'd be cooked, right? Like, they'd just be cooked on, I guess, a lower temperature so that they don't, like, they don't crispen up. But then, like, they wouldn't be like undercooked chips, right? They'd still be cooked to a decent extent. I'm concerned about this now, but Fergus Burke running up to the halfway line. And it's just to get through the tackle attempt of Finney Anisi. Now nice pass from Ben White to the left. Sione Tui Pelotu with ball in hand, going off to the left-hand side. Ollie Smith bumps out of one challenge. Offloads now to White. Duan Fundamover close to the far touchline. And driven just that little bit closer. Tonga kicking the ball downfield. Best way to make slap chips is to parboil them, then dry them, then fry them in oil. So here's Ruby. Now Tom Jordan passes across to Andy Christie. Offloads to Kyle Rowe. Now passed on the outside. George Turner needed that offload back to Kyle Rowe, but didn't quite find it. I think Pellegrini was asking for the side entry penalty in favour of Tonga. Ben White back across again. Oh, good phase play, but a massive shot. Right, it's going to be a 1 penalty here against Fissi Ahoy for not being back. And French fries were invented in Belgium, says Ty Trini Queen. And imagine if Scotland get a 21-point lead and lose again. They would definitely not be happy about it. You're still planning a trip to South Africa, I remember you telling me. Says CP, at some stage I'd like to. I'm not sure when it's going to be, though. I think that it would be after the next World Cup. But honestly, I'm not sure of a year. I'm not sure where I would go. I'm not sure what I would do. So I definitely need to do more planning. And came for the rugby, stayed for the chips, is 72 Matt Ryan. It's always the Monday morning, Sunday afternoon games that we somehow talk about food. Did I start the chat about food? I probably did. No, Ruth did. It's Ruth's fault, ladies and gents, because she asked me what I had eaten today and I said chips. And it all started from there. But now 15 metres out from the line. Flower of Scotland being sung around the ground at the moment at Murrayfield. Ben White back across to Tui Polotu. Tongan defence has been going all right so far, even though they've got one less man out there on the field. Now White, missed pass there. Little bit of open space. Tonga going to kick it down the middle of the park, and they have finally got themselves inside of Scottish territory. Picked up at the back from Kyle Rowe. Has a bit of a slip, but gets back up. And now a counter-attacking chance for Scotland. 40 metres out from their line. Christie passes on the outside of George Turner. Ball back to Kyle Rowe this time. A wide-open game at the moment with a huge amount of gaps. The ball was stolen by Tonga, but not legally. They will go back for the penalty. Thank you very much, Philip, again, for your generosity. I believe that is about your 4th of the weekend. That upgraded read was harsh, says Matt. And now Hamish predictions for England. I hope it's close. Within 7 either way would be absolutely fantastic. But from Philip, it is, come on, guys. Hamish needs a new shirt and tie. Match or better me, says Philip there. Yeah, we'll have to get a different suit and tie because we've worn the same one for the past about year and a half on the stream. Like, of course, washing it in between. I've got 2 shirts. This one's one of the ones that I haven't worn too often. But yeah, different tie I might have to look at getting at some point. I'm eating a packet of Walker's Beef Wellington Crisp as we watch this game. Delicious. Says Fleshin. And just hoping Tonga puts up somewhat of a fight. Yeah, and at the moment, they're not doing too badly. They are down a man, but they are only down to 14 points. Oh, that's a dirty shot from Tonga, I think it was, or a little bit late anyway. And Townsend should still go. He's done all he can. Not getting any better. Give someone else a chance now. So here's Messi Fan. And I feel like if they're going to take him out, they have to do it early rather than later. You know, that World Cup is getting closer and closer. So you want to give a new coach as big of an opportunity as you can. I just know chicken talk, please, says Philip. See, now that you've said that, you've probably started it, haven't you? And push like and subscribe. Let's get Hamish to 100,000 subs. Says Nazi Williams. Yeah, I saw a few channels have reached the 100k this weekend. I did see that Mark, 2 Cents Rugby, managed to get there. Also, Stephen managed to get there too. So, yeah, it's been a big weekend of milestones for a lot of rugby YouTubers. Forget the shirt and tie. We need a French fries fun. That's a tongue twister. Definitely when you misspell French. That threw me off from the get-go. See, name is your rugby ties. We can play Guess the Club. Says DJ now back across to the left-hand side. Scotland. Another step from Kyle Rowe. They'll sit down Sonatane Takalua. Just a 3 minutes still remaining of that card before Tonga can return to 15 men on the field. But Scotland on attack again as we hear the bagpipes in the distance. In the background, Ben White cross there again, finds the hands of Rory Sutherland. Quickly recycled, Xander Fagerson can't quite reach out, but he's within a metre. All they need is someone to fall over the line. Williamson looked like he got there. Referee's going to check it, but that looked pretty good for the Scottish lock. And we have to there, puck. And I will be your rugby tour guide, only if you're visiting Cape Town. See a CP from Cape Town. I think I definitely will need a tour guide because I get lost very easily. I sometimes, I don't even know my way around our small town at times. I forget where I'm going, but then once I get back on track, I'm good to go. But yeah, slowly starting to remember some roads. Right, they're checking this one on the TMO. I think this one is a try. Looked like he managed to roll over. Where is the blazer though? Hamish, it is in the wardrobe. It's not quite cold enough to have a blazer on. Plus, it doesn't actually match the shirt or the tie. So, that's why I leave it out. Like, I'd have to go white shirt for the blazer. Right, so he initially was dragged down Williamson, but he has allowed one movement. And that movement looked pretty close to him putting it down. I need chips, says DJ. Yeah, that's a try for Max Williamson. The clear grounding there as he rolled over. We have there, Ruth mentioned she wanted to see you with your tie only, says Naz Williams. Could the game be closer if Tonga is an ill-disciplined, says Mark? Probably. Right, they may award the try, so that is going to be try number 3 for Scotland. In this contest, you can wear one of those yellow ref shirts to show you the neutralness. Because then people might think I'm actually a ref and then start abusing me. Because that's what happens with every single referee in the world at the moment. So I think the less you look like a referee, the better. Hamish shirtless with a tie, says Ruth. Yeah, I'm not sure whether or not the general consensus would be that people wanted to see that, Ruth. That one has gone over. That will make the score now 21 points to nil in favour of Scotland. 3 tries in 23 minutes. Jeez Louise. Although, and I'm sorry for saying this, they were up 21-0 up against Argentina. We have got a donation from Ruby Tuesday as well with the South Africans rands. There we go. See how many of the regular crowd pitches in, Philip. Says Ruby there. But yeah, greatly appreciate it. It's been a very, very generous weekend from everyone. And I feel like even in terms of like the hit and the likes and whatnot, I feel like everyone's just gone above and beyond. Try for Scotland and they got the kicks. Says Richard, they certainly did. So sitting 21-0 now. And Tonga ain't the Pumas, sadly. Says the big rig. Big collision there again. Going to get the steal. They were told to release it. So the 1 minute remaining. I do also see that Tonga have made another switch here. That was actually Tima Whainanuku. That is the brother of Leicester. I was playing for the All Blacks not too long ago. Thank you, Ruby. What up? That's how I imagine you said it, but it probably sounded a lot cooler than how I just said it. Hi, go Tonga, says Johan Hussen there, and it's a knock on from the Tongans. Means that Scotland have got themselves the scrum feed. That is Taniela Philemoni who had that handling error. He actually made his debut for the Highlanders last season of Super Rugby Pacific, I think it was. So far we have seen 12 tackles made by Scotland, 90 tackles made by Tonga. 90. They've missed 20 of those, so that is not ideal. All good, Philip. Lazy Sunday vibes. The Bears won last night. Says Ruby there too. Now, sitting with the 15 and a half minutes remaining in this first 40-minute period. If Tonga want any chance, they pretty much have to be the next side to score here. But their discipline has let them down. They've given away a few penalties. Gave away that red card, 12 tackles. Damn, Tonga had like no possession, hardly any ball whatsoever for Tonga throughout this contest, just at this point in time. Anytime that they get it, it's normally because Scotland have messed up their backline and then they're able to just grubber it forward and chase after it. But yeah, in terms of actually having their hands on the ball, it would have to be probably less than 2 or 3 minutes of this half has been in the possession of the Tongans. Now, Ben White around the halfway line. Christie goes to Tui Pilotu. Xander Ferguson straightens with his run before being tackled by Pulanati. I've just mentioned there, Andy Christie has had 10 carries in this contest. Or it might have been Xander Ferguson, but either way, they individually have almost had more carries than this whole Tongan side. And we have got, Hamish between Philip and Ruby. You'll be in a new shirt and tie next week, says Ruth. And how's Burke getting on? A new name for me, says DJ. Hasn't gone too bad so far, Fergus Burke. He's more of a familiar name for us Kiwis, just because he was in Super Rugby for quite some time. And Ahoy H says 1 Pierre Bosch. Welcome in, hope you're doing well. Stick a 140 rand in his shorts, and maybe your dreams will come true, says Ruby. And I take it, Hamish says Darren, welcome in. So we do see the change being made for Tonga. After that 20-minute red card, they are now allowed to return to 15 on the field. And I want to say that it is, I think it's Tamani who's made his way on. Yeah, it looks like the number 19, so they have decided to make that switch. He's quite a tall player. I think he's one of the taller ones out there on the field. "39 years old as well for Tamani. He's also represented the Wallabies they have mentioned in the past. But now he's out there on the field for the Tongans in a tough game up against Scotland, but the scrum feed going to be put in by Tonga. Dude looks late 20s well. Says Matei, I wouldn't have guessed 39. I wouldn't have even probably guessed 30. He still looks like he's in great shape, and he's a bit of a hulking individual compared to some of the guys out there on the field looking for the 50-22, and they get it there, Tonga. So back to 15, and a nice kick downfield from William Havili to be able to create the chance. There's been more yellow and red cards this series in the last 5 years of rugby. Yeah, it hasn't been a good look, has it? Unfortunately, and I know that they're trying to be strict on certain decisions, but I think it's also putting a few people off the amount of times that we've seen it. Ruby, if you could reach that, or if I could reach that for Darlin, My French boss only pays me at the end of the month. I need to pay my subscription soon. Says Ruth there. Now, Seula Mai, nice take. And to get this one moving very slowly here for Tonga, although the rolling ball is at least stepping in the right direction at this point in time, and they do need that next try in the contest. Scotland managing to drag down the maul, and the ball does not come out. It will now be the Scottish feed into the scrum. Who are they talking to at the moment on the... That voice sounds familiar. It may be the Tongan coach. Maybe, or one of the assistant coaches, in fact, it might be, that they are chatting to at the moment. And we have got their first French boss, money, stays in his wallet till the end, says Ruth. Now scrum feed here for Scotland, just the 12 metres out from their try line. The crowd looking full at Murrayfield as well. Their last game of the calendar year for Scotland, or at least for 2025, then straight into the Six Nations. And only about less than 100 days' time, I believe, Six Nations competition will be starting up. I'll have a quick look at the exact date for the first match of it for Scotland, but the ball is fed in by Ben White. Across to the left-hand side, Sione Tui Pilotu. Good low tackle made by Pellegrini. A ref losing control of their ego are unacceptable cards in any sport, says DJ. Yeah, for Tonga in 2026, first game of the Six Nations is actually way less than 100 days. It's 74 days away that first match of the Six Nations for any side has taken place. And that is France versus Ireland. Scotland, they play Italy. That is in 75 days' time. That'll be an intriguing first matchup of the competition. I think that's a dinosaur from Apex there. Can't even get a vodka at this point of the month, says Ruth. Now, Seula Mai throwing the ball in, nicely taken by the Tongans round the halfway line. Lotu Anisi had the very first carry of the whole contest since then. I believe he hasn't had any up until now. Penalty advantage going the way of Tonga with Seula Mai. Back across to the right-hand side. Tonga have got some numbers here. Pellegrini, quick hands from Havili, goes to Filimoni. Gets into that wider channel. On the field, Lotu Anisi. As the bulldoze his way through two defence of the Scottish. And Scottish are doing well. See Sky Sport have a Black Friday special. $3.99 for the annual pass instead of $5.49. Is that for the existing members though, or is it just for the ones who are looking to sign up in the near future? So I think I always end up trying to get the Black Friday deal, but because I'm a member of Sky Sport already, they don't actually let you get it. Unless you cancel your subscription beforehand, maybe, but then they say that it runs out afterwards. Pellegrini, some good quick movement of the ball, going out wide. Some hard collisions out there as well on the park already. Moala with a good run. St. Francis Bay love surfing. And how's that, Hamish from Craig and St. Francis Bay? I think both. Says Jasmine. And desperate to claw back some credibility after the Argentina embarrassment, says Barbrek. Yeah, that was an incredible comeback from the Pumas in Scotland. They just let that one slip. As soon as that Kinghorn yellow card happened, it just seemed to be continuously downhill for Scotland. Of course, in this game, they will be looking to stay a little bit more in control. And, you know, they've started in a very similar fashion here. So now it's just about getting the job done and finishing it off, if you ask Scotland. Referee just asking for some clear separation in the line out. Seula Mully again. And to throw it in. Taken by, it would have been Mate'eli. Now looping around Male. A driving tackle on him by his opposite number, George Turner, who's already crossed the try line once in this contest. Got another donation from Philip, and that one's for Ruth. And there's also, thank you very much, Philip. Greatly appreciated. Oh, or should I say thank you, Ruth. That's going to be a drop ball from the man who's recently made his way onto the field, Tamani. Now kick downfield advantage has been called as over as well. So Tonga now retreating back to their own 22. William Havili's got a strong left boot. And does very well with that clearing kick. Gets a lot of metres downfield for the Tongans. South Africa will be looking for a record win over Wales next week, I think. Wales played well, while still disappointing. Says Matty, yeah, I think Wales did all right in that game up against the Kiwis. Scoring 4 tries, I think, was much more than even Welsh supporters were giving them in that game up against the All Blacks. I see we've got Duan Whanamurva in the play again. Got to work off his beer gut and make it rain, says Kerr. In there as well. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. Yeah, currently Scotland doing very nicely, raining tries throughout this first half as well. I've got a story to tell you, Kerr, at some point as well. I'll probably tell you it on Instagram, I'd say, but it's a bit of a fun fact kind of story, which is a massive cliffhanger to just leave you on, but you'll enjoy it. 7 minutes at the moment remaining in this first half. Fun to move. Yes, an afternoon chat says on the right. Welcome in. And she's Louise. Philip, fabulous darling. You're a superstar. Thanks. I'm so privileged to have Philip around. And Ireland vs South Africa, November 25. Ireland received a new record of the most cards in a single international match, receiving 10 cards, 7 yellow and 3 red. That didn't happen, though. Is that right? Or was it the bear? It was the bear. They received 5 cards, 4 yellow, 1 red. And now another step, Pulanite. Let's look for the offload. Scotland getting through. Keeping the pressure on just that little bit more. Fisio Hoy has to run back and clean it up. We have got the Philip Howe, no. And also, please don't dip your biltong in the coffee. That wouldn't be good, would it? That sounds like a brutal combo. Although people dip a few strange things into coffee. Now, Takaloa is back to Patrick Pellegrini. And that one has gone into touch. That's incorrect, says CP from Cape Town, but a nice clearing kick from Pellegrini. Looks like Fergus Burke at the moment, struggling a little bit with some sort of left leg injury. My thoughts after the South African game, biltong over a pie, says on the right. I don't just Gemini all the time, says Thai Trinity Queen. And toast and tea is weirdly nice. I guess toast and tea wouldn't be that different to soup. In a way, it's like a tea. It's not a thin soup, but it is a similar kind of thickness. If you have like a thin soup, we got a super sticker there from Kerr as well. Thank you very much, mate. I'm trying to think, when was the last Kerr super sticker that we've had on the channel? It's been a little while, but I remember the hippo. Hippo was making its appearance very often. I'm just getting into this one so that I can see what that super sticker is. Hopefully it will let me see in a very short moment. Fergus Burke looks like he is going to be continuing. Sounds ominous. I'm concerned. I don't think you should be concerned. It is the hippo who's back as well. From Kerr there. He's got him going like that. And also Kerr, hello. And hi Kerr, says Philip in there too. And now back across to the left-hand side. Ben White on left-hand side. And and crushing up Bean Liquid. Or crushed up Bean Liquid says, so I Trini breaking the line again. Magnus Bradbury with a nice step. Finds the offload to Ben White, who is lined up early from Tamani. But again, they're just in a very good position on the field. Scotland, Jamie Ritchie with the pick and go in the breakdown, though. Big Ben Tamefuna manages to get the penalty in his favour. It looks like he might have hurt himself in the process, though. He's got some heavy strapping on those hamstrings, and they would have felt all of that brunt of the breakdown. Banana and coffee is a fine breakfast. Do you leave the banana in the coffee, or do you dip it in, take it out, and then eat the banana? I guess it would be kind of like dipping a biscuit in a coffee, would it? But, yeah. Does it get soft when you stick the banana in the cup? It sounds weird when you say it like that. It would be too funny if second half Tonga could take the lead, says Matty. And the Waikato lad says Nazi Williams there. And also think Tonga have been eating too much donut case. They might end up with one. There's Jasmine. And also Bradbury. Cadbury's brother, Hamish, says Ruth. He's had a busy game throughout the early stages, Magnus Bradbury, for this contest. Might get himself a try later on, I would say, if he can stay out there for that little bit longer. From Cricket Townsend to be sacked on the screen too. Thank you very much for your generosity there, Kerr. Takaloa trying to milk the offside penalty, and he has got it. The Tonga will get themselves the penalty round the halfway line. Just dip it in the coffee, Hamish, says Barbrick. Got to dip a uma in the coffee? I don't know what a uma is. I think you just eat the banana and then drink the coffee, says Pleasant Teas. And also, I think, I just left Mauritius on my way to Singapore. So where do you go from Singapore, Kerr? Are you continuing south or are you heading back north afterwards? And bro, you got enough tips for KFC, says Nars Williams. Yeah, although KFC got rid of their $20 bucket of chicken, unfortunately. Now it's $40 for a bucket, which is quite sad. Of course, I would know that bit of information. Pellegrini mistouch. In fact, he didn't mistouch per se. He just kicked the ball dead. Home, hopefully, says Kerr. I've dipped my banana in a few strange places, says Barbrick. So finally, fully appreciate the rugby doctorate that Rassi has. Now around the halfway line, it will be the scrum feed for Scotland. I'm not talking about the fruit, says CP. And dipping banana in coffee is crazy. KFC getting a little pricey, says Robert. Every single message at the moment is about food now, isn't it? Once again, I did not start it though. That was all you guys. I just joined in and we went from there. Now ball's fed in by Ben White. I don't do bananas with or without coffee. Says straight deal. Oh, breaking the line. Offload there from Ollie Smith. Goes to Fergus Burke, showing some good speed as he moves into the 22. Trying to get that turnover on the breakdown. I think it was John Tipueluelu. It doesn't quite get it now. Back across to the right. Stepping from Rory Sutherland, the big prop, trying to break his way through Tonga's line. Ben White finds the hands of, I think that's ended up being Tom Jordan. I think he was after a big forward and a few days in South Africa last week, which was nice, says Kerr. I think the chat has given up on Tonga. It seems that way, doesn't it? Normally when it's a one-sided affair, that is when the messages are more off-topic from the rugby, but I think everyone's almost accepted that Scotland are going to win this game. It's just at this point by how much. Come on, Tonga, says Nazi Williams. In there, and that is the knock-on, though, from Scotland. Now Tonga looking to use their backline. Patrick Pellegrini sells the dummy. If anyone was going to be able to break through for the Tongans, it would be that man. Offloads upwards. And the advantage is now over. John Tipueluelu gets the offload again. Sage Fisiahoy hangs onto it. And the penalty goes the way of Scotland. Two things taste like fish. One is fish, says Kerr. No KFC or chicken chat this week. Please, bananas, okay, says Philip. And also, Scotland should win by 50 points, says Patrick. And Hamish is having a banger today. A big win here, Commentary King, says Ruth. I don't think so, unless by a huge score, 70 plus, says Pleasant Teas. Scotland. This is a bit of a statement decision here. They have decided to go for the corner rather than going for the 3 points. Now, it would have been straight out in front of the post and an easy way to end out the half, but they've decided they want one last try for going into the changing sheds. Are we going to repeat history with a Tongan comeback to win, says Barbrick? I don't think so. I don't know if Tonga have that same firepower that Argentina did, although to be fair, Scotland, if they got themselves yellow carded, then Tonga, that would definitely help them in the right direction. Fun fact, South Africa is knockoff versions of KFC and Nando's, says CP. Yeah, I think KFC chicken, you can get... Sorry, I was told not to talk about chicken. Now close to the line, there's Scotland. Just half a metre short. Ben White, that might have been deliberate from Tonga. This might end up as a... this is going to be a yellow card for Tonga. I'm actually Stephen Findespay. My laptop seems to have decided on a daily basis whether I'm straight deal or Stefan. Yeah, I think that YouTube have decided to go back to the ats rather than going to the usernames, which is very confusing because for some of you guys, I didn't actually know what your ats were because they are actually quite different to your usernames. So Hamish, if you were Felipe Kotopomi, what would your tactics be to end England's winning streak? I think that Argentina just had to play, honestly, they have to play their natural game. They've been dangerous throughout matches where they just go about their business. And, of course, discipline's huge. That's going to be one that I think for both sides in that game can be make or break. Who wins it? Townsend might still F it up. Swap Bradbury with Horn, for example, says Kerr. And mine is different, says Novmum. Or Jasmine, as it says. And hey, Big Rig, how you doing, says Philip. Now Rolling Maul attempted here again from Scotland. Starting to move that little bit further now. Stop once, though. It's Carl, in case you forgot, change my username in there. Yeah, see, for me, it's got CP from... oops, that's the wrong one. That's what it's got for you at the moment. CP from CPT. Which is why I've gotten slightly confused by some of them. But I do see that little spanner in there too. Monday soon, says Big Rig. It is actually already Monday for us here in New Zealand. Fun fact, but Scotland unable to add the extra points at the end of the half. So the score at halftime will be 21 points to 0. What time that game, England? England are playing at 5:10 a.m. New Zealand time. So that game is kicking off in 2 hours and 40 minutes time. 1 hour and 40 minutes time. And we're going to be starting the live stream pretty much as soon as this one ends. I think we're starting in about an hour and 10 minutes time for that live stream. So be sure to, of course, check that out. Was that the time, or was it, maybe it was a little bit later that I'm starting that next live stream? I don't even remember when I scheduled it for. 4:45 a.m. is when we are starting on the channel. So that is in an hour and 15 minutes before that next live stream will be starting for England-Argentina. So be sure, of course, to tune in for that one. Weekend is nearly over. Manic Monday tomorrow. And they have the strength but lack control. And while that Scotland played their half, and I never ever saw any Kiwi lads friends in Cape Town, says Kerr there. See, what you should have done is, I know that you gave me that shirt with the Kiwi lads on it. You should have had one of those while you were there. And I don't know whether or not anyone would have actually mentioned it to you, but it would have increased your chances perhaps. Just that little bit more. Or either that, or we're just going to get you on the channel so that people see you and then they might recognise you. I don't think anyone's recognised me in a very... Oh, no, that's a lie. When I went to the Super Rugby game between the Crusaders and the Highlanders, I got recognised at Time Zone, which is like an arcade, which was quite funny because we had just been at a rugby match with 10,000 rugby fans. No one noticed. But then I go to Time Zone after the game and someone went, oh, that's your Kiwi lads. I got my goodie. Oh, your hoodie. Is that the Chick Chick Bang one? That's very limited edition, by the way. I think like maybe 1 or 2 people got those in the end. I expect Townsend. Some dispute years ago. As usual, Townsend said we should play this one game for no pay count. I can't quite remember what it was. About Neil from England. If we are on food, what's your go-to curry? I like lamb salon. Is that how you'd say that second part? I'm a very basic buttered chicken boy. You know, mild as well, because I can't handle spice. Sweet chili sauce I find spicy. We got a gifted membership from Carl as well. Thank you very much. You guys there haven't been many moments where I haven't had something up in this corner on the bottom of the screen. England versus Argentina. Says Ty Trinity there. That's going to be a great game. Or at least I really, really want it to be. Because for me, outside of those big matches, like honestly, I would say I was more excited for Argentina-England than I was for France versus Australia. And after watching Ireland-South Africa, I would say I'm probably more excited for England versus Argentina now too. Because I am hoping it's going to be one of those matches that just really tear it up. Tongan curry is the same as Samoan curry. Looks nice. Says DJ. Heinz sweet chili dip is delicious. Hashtag not sponsored. Hashtag not sponsored yet. We have to try and get a sponsor on the channel. I don't think I've had one since about 2021 or something like that. I've had a lot of scam emails that have been like, hey, all you have to do is give us your email, or all you have to do is download this document and we can do a collaboration. But then I messaged the companies and they're like, we've never heard of this person. There was a Nan called Denton. He was a Scot. He's a very good player. Or a man, I assume that is, rather than a Nan. Here's Hamish emailed you an updated version of the England lineups. Says Hano there. Emailed you an updated version of... How long ago did you do that, Hano? Because I know that I downloaded them before this live stream. I think KFC should sponsor you. You talk about it enough. I think so. Like, but then do I want money or do I want chicken? And I'd say, I'd take chicken. Everyone say Surfshark VPN is the best non-evil gambling scam sponsor on YouTube. Says Big Rig. And Gavin Hastings says Ruth in there as well. And discipline is one thing, resilience is one thing, lucrative financial incentives are another. Says Feeling Music. However, there Lowell says Naz Williams in there too. But what we will do is we will look through at the benches, ladies and gentlemen. So I will pop myself off to the side so that we can see it clearly. To my side, I don't know if it's my left or my right because it is reversed for myself. But for Tonga off their bench, they've got Sam Molly, they've got Paya. And then also we should mention Tamani. He has already made his way onto the field as well as Tima Whainaunuku, I should say. And then Tuatavuki still yet to make his way on alongside Halo and also Lokatui. For the Scottish, they have got McDowell, who looked like he wasn't a mile away from making his way on when we did see a little bit of an injury concern for Fergus Burke. Ewan Ashman's there, Kyle Stain, George Horn, all great impact players for Scotland here as well. And Hastings did a good service, says Barbrick. And just now, there was a mistake on it. I misspelled Elliot Daly, says Hano. You want free nuggies? I would take free chicken nuggets. Not out of like a back of a random van though, but like in general, I would accept free chicken nuggets. Now we have there Chris Patterson, was good to watch. Says Barbrick there too. Currently the halftime break in this contest. Like I mentioned, next game is just around the corner, taking place between England and Argentina. We have got there, speaking of sponsors, my nephew just got tennis sponsorship from Head. He is only 8 years old, getting a tennis sponsorship. So I assume he'd be quite decent at tennis, right? What is Head? Don't say it. Hang on. I'm going to have to look up Head tennis. Oh, so it's like a brand of rackets, is it? And Patterson, yes, says Ruth. I just finished packing. How was the first half? First half was a little bit one-sided. Scotland had a lot of the ball. Tongan did not. But you've done well. You got through that first half of packing. So now second half of the game, whatever else you got to get done, be sure to get it done. And then by that England-Argentina game, be relatively set. And Head, we know what it is, Hamish. CSCP from Cape Town. And the next McEnroe. For the record, I only didn't say it because it was a kid, says Big Rig. And Hamish crawling out of the gutter, says Ruby. And pretty much what we call Salem Curry. 8 years old, currently ranked top in Scotland. I think number 3 in the 8 years old, currently ranked top in Scotland. I think number 3 in the UK for age 4. Like, is it up to the age of 14 and he's only 8 years old? Is he like a prodigy or something? That sounds like he's going to have a very bright future. I reckon Tonga feeling the Scottish chill up there. And Edinburgh says Barbrick. Our commentary is golden and hilarious. Says Gertis. And there's, anytime it's halftime or anytime there's a stoppage in the game, we get very distracted very quickly on these streams. Definitely when it's a late night one. Currently sitting 3:38. Genuinely is incredible. Pretty much a prodigy, yes, says Kerr. Is he also in Scotland? If I end up in Scotland, Kerr, at some random stage, we can try and organise for me to face your prodigy nephew in a tennis match for the channel. I'll get my backside handed to me, I would say. Either that or I will crush his dreams. I'm not terrible at tennis, but I'm definitely not good. We have got their fabulous Kerr, congrats. And Hamish, send me your location so I can send you and mum and dad a proper Cape Malay curry. Surely that wouldn't travel well though, would it? Hamish had a red head there for a few seconds. Says Ruby, I do often compare myself to a chameleon in terms of the way that my face changes colour in quick succession. He's got to have a set of legs on him to keep up with 14-year-olds, says Big Rig. Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking up to the age of 14, like, even if you said for like under 10s, it would have been impressive. But like the fact that it's up to 14 years old, he's ranked number 3 in the UK is huge. I want to a drink to survive the all-nighter. I just have a big bottle of water. It's one of these, which also is not a sponsor. But, I just end up drinking water and somehow stay awake. But yeah, not too sure how. But currently, I will mention, we're only probably about 2 or 3 minutes away from the second half getting underway in this contest. This halftime break's gone very quickly. I feel like that's because we talked about all sorts of random stuff along the way. Kneecaps are strong. Says Ruth. And that's impressive. Aori travels all over the UK for competitions every week. Last week destroyed the local champion in straight sets, a 24-year-old. Is there like anything on YouTube to do with this, Kirk? Because this just sounds like he's an absolute tank. You see how quick we delivered the first try yesterday? Says Philip. How quick we delivered the first try. Which try are we talking? Philip, I assume you're talking South Africa's one, Willems's, maybe? Or instead of sponsors, you could do your own brand as a hot sauce now, or Ric Flair has an energy drink. Yeah, see, anything food-related, though, I feel like it's a bit tricky, because that's when lawsuits all come into it, doesn't it? Either Hamish has a large bladder, or he's attached to a plumbing. Says Barbrek. Yeah, I don't know how I got through yesterday without any sort of toilet break, but we were sitting here for a good, probably 9 hours. About maybe 8 or so of those was from streaming. Have a limsa. And are your shrooms kicking in, or are you serious? Ruby in there. What's the population of Tonga? I think it's about 120,000. I'm going to look it up, though. Tonga population. 104,000. 103,000. So 120 was a bit too generous. And hey, everybody, hope your team wins. At least you're hoping for Tonga to win. Says Bruce. Yes, so see how quick we can deliver food. Says Philip there. And also, does he have Boris Becker serve boom? Says Ruth. Yeah, second half just about to get underway. Do let me know your in-score predictions. When is Rusty announcing his team for Saturday against Wales? From what I saw, he hasn't announced it yet. By the looks of it. But normally, other than that first game, he's pretty much decided to go with the regular later announcement in the week, like the rest of the sides. Ikale sponsored by Adult Diapers. Says Big Rig. I could sell your boiled eggs, Hamish, as your new merch. I don't think anyone would want those boiled eggs. They were not good at all. Even second time around, they weren't great. Normally on a Wednesday or a Thursday. Says Cape Town, yeah. So it's normally Thursday or Friday morning for us here in New Zealand. So Thursday afternoon, probably 2:45 or somewhere around there, South African time. What's the population of Tonga? 103,000. And normally on a Wednesday. Oh, no, I read that one, didn't I? Literally just then. Hi, Bruce. Welcome, says Philip. In there as well. How many Tongans are in Auckland? There's quite a few. It was awesome seeing the match. It wasn't actually to do with Tonga per se in New Zealand, but the support for Tonga and Samoa for that rugby league match when they went head-to-head. Rusty only has about 25 to choose from. Says Pleasant Tees. Has he sent guys back to the URC? Pleasant Tees? Or who are the guys that he hasn't got? Because, of course, I haven't done my lineup prediction yet, so I need to know this insider knowledge. Thursday, the latest, because World Rugby has a deadline for teams to be announced. I'm here for playing. I hear you playing for the Springboks Saturday against Wales, and you the captain. I would not want that responsibility. That would be too stressful for myself. I'd end up just crumbling under the pressure and getting everything wrong. To add to Tonga's top population, only 75,000 of those are adults. So the fact that they can field a strong team is wild. So yeah, 28,750 adults between the age of 18 and 40. So yeah, very limited choices. For the Tongans, no premiership players. A lot of Japanese players released, along with Grant Williams and Edouard van der Merwe. So no premiership players and a lot of Japanese players released. So released from the squad to go back to the Japanese league, or just to have a bit of a break. I'm going to take a picture of that so that I don't end up selecting them in my video and then getting crucified. I sent you something on Discord. Says Kerr there. 1 second, we'll go like this. We'll go like that as well. And don't imagine a victory today will lift Scotland's world rankings. No, they can't actually get any sort of points from this, unfortunately, which is a massive shame because it's quite the serve, Kerr. That would have probably thrown a lot of people off. Probably threw off that 24-year-old that he bet as well. He was end up with a chicken or the egg dilemma on a Monday. Says Ruby, and 50 points minimum for the box. Just showing the Ashes highlights package as well. It is coming up in the near future. The next test match, it was still going to be going here today. This would have been day 4 of the Ashes, as in day 4 being Monday. But the Ashes was over in 2 days for that first test match. But just about to get back underway because a lot of players are going to the URC starting Saturday, says Mohaddin. And also hope Tonga get the help they need. I think it'll be a great team, says Neil. Peter Steph, Lebok, Sasha, many more. Japan and URC all out. Japan and URC all out. Who does that leave them, though? So if all of the URC guys are gone, that's 90% of the squad, isn't it? I wonder what Scottish haggis, chicken Kiev tastes like. And do you think the Wales vs South Africa game is overkill? Already been a long, successful season and both teams are depleted due to premiership players' club duties. I actually think, yeah. I think that South Africa, they've already played 14 games this season. Like, 15 does seem like a lot. Definitely when it's outside of the window where everyone else is playing. But, I mean, it's another opportunity to make a little bit of extra money for the two sides. So, you know, that's probably not a bad idea. But, yeah, it certainly won't be the same as some of the other games that we've seen throughout November for the teams. A lot of URC players will stay in the squad, only Grant and Edwell released. Okay, I get you. Now nicely taken around the halfway line. Here comes a big run forward from Philemoni to get the Tongans off to a bit of a flying start in the second half. Off to the left-hand side, but a step in there from Solomoni Kata. He's had hardly any carries throughout this match at this point in time. And South Africa URC players, Abon and Audegir released. Says Mohammed there. I'm going to have to start taking notes of all this, aren't I? Is there a list somewhere, Mohammed, that they've got that, like, they just say everyone who's been let go of the squad? It might be on the Springboks website, is it? Or is it on the Instagram, perhaps? And Weight Box will play a backup team, says Pleasant. And remember 2 months, wasn't there some controversy in a cricket with Australians using sandpaper on the ball? It was a wee while ago. Solomoni Kata looking for this ball again, although Patrick Pellegrini doesn't pass it to him. Instead tries to go for the kick in behind, but Scotland were ready for it. And they go for a long boot of their own. And just by trying to go for that little chip there, Tonga, they lose about maybe 70 metres. Saw it on the press conference. Okay, so I have to give that a watch perhaps in the near future. Wales have lost 10 players to the Prem. The game is hard enough as it is. A bit of a joke, really. Says Fleshin. Sean Duan van der Merwe chased after that kickoff. And then Philemoni just taking it nicely and almost creating the opportunity for the Tongans from the get-go. But now George Turner. Line out throw here with 38 minutes left on the clock. Tonga, they do still have a yellow card against them and will for the next maybe about 7 minutes of this half. Bradbury. Still down again. Off to the left-hand side, Tuipulotu. Little pop pass up to Ollie Smith, who has fumbled the ball forwards, they have said, rather than backwards. And I Stephanie says, Philip. Where's Cool Story's auntie today? Hamish says, Ruth. That is a good question. Cool Story normally pops in and out every once in a while. Gregor Townsend with that Scottish hat. I have a Scottish hat. It looks a little bit worse for wear. Fun fact. Yeah, that's the Scottish. Oh, it's the other side. There you go, Scotland. It is a Rugby League World Cup hat from a while ago. That ended up on the floor. I tried to chuck it nicely on a chair. And it just tumbled over. Thomas Detoy, Boyan Fenta and Audegir Sneyman all potentially unavailable as their clubs are not obliged to release them. Japan-based stars such as Marnie Libok, says CP. Now it is going to be the scrum feed for Sonatane Takalua and its Tongan forward pack. Tonga want any chance of winning this game, they have to get right back into it. Looks like, are you out at sea with that or you were sweating? I was sweating. That's all that happened there. And how many more games do the Box need to win in order for Rasi to beat Nick Millet's record? I am not too sure. Consecutive wins is a tricky one because they did have that loss to the All Blacks at Eden Park. From there, they won the next game, 2 after that up against Argentina, and then they've won 4 games from there. So they're up to 7 matches in a row. This game up against Wales would make it 8. And I hope that's not an omen, Hamish. And at least try Tokos, make us Oceania proud. Or at least one try, says Naz Williams. Yeah, big crunching tackle there on Sonatane Takalua. Great low one from Fergus Burke too to tie up the ankles. Now line out throw for Scotland again. 15 metres out from their line. This game's at a little bit of a stalemate. Scotland haven't been able to break through Tonga as easily in the last little while. And Carl, I don't believe that's an issue for next week's game, says Philip. But yeah, we are actually going to be covering that one on the channel as well. That South Africa versus Wales match. Alongside that, I'm also going to be doing the URC derby between 2 South African sides, and hopefully the 2 games after that as well of the URC on the channel too. So plenty of rugby still to come next week. In fact, the thing is, yes, there's less international rugby next week, but it's almost just as busy, if not more busy, because the Sevens is also going to be taking place too. What's the record for consecutive wins? I thought it was New Zealand and England with 17. I think so. What's the longest winning streak for South Africa, though? Next record is 17 consecutive wins, says Bruce. Yes, they'll take a little while to get to. It's pretty much all of next year as well. 17 games in a row, not sure about other teams. I think ABs might hold the record, says Pleasant Tees. Now, Takalua running at Turner. That was a little bit too high from the Scottish hooker. Now, Pellegrini goes across now to the left-hand side again. And Takalua again. Back to the right-hand side. Ben Tamefuna. Big collision there with Xander Ferguson, who looked like he was a little bit slow getting back up as well. There's been some heavy physicality out there. All Blacks 18 consecutive wins. Says CP, or Ben Tamefuna also slow getting back up to his feet. I think that there was a maybe head-on-head between Tamefuna and Xander, because neither of them looked 100%. That one's going to be kicked in behind. Nicely taken by William Arveli. Passes back across to the right-hand side. Finney Anisi goes to Pellegrini. Little chip attempted in behind, but again, Scotland back covering. They'll go back for the initial Scottish penalty by the looks of it. Okay, there's going to be a penalty against Moala. Oh, no, it's in favour of Moala, in fact. I know New Zealand and England have 17, says Akaris. Rolls off the tongue, please tease me. Please tease me. I thought for a second I was saying his name wrong, but no, is it Pleasant Tease? Or sorry, Pleasant Ease, or is it Pleasant Tease? I think it would be Pleasant Ease, isn't it? And Tier 1 men's record. The record for Tier 1 is 18 consecutive, a feat jointly held by New Zealand and England for 2015 to 2016. Isn't it funny how both sides got their consecutive wins at the same time because they didn't play each other during that kind of rough period? But now ready to have the line-out throw here for Tonga. They are 12 metres out. Line-out's 1 at the moment. They have won 7. And Ngurasi is currently on a 7-match winning streak. That is correct. He will be on an 8-match winning streak by the end of November, you would think, unless, of course, something goes incredibly wrong. But 3 changes about to be made. 1, 2, and 3 making their way off. Rory Sutherland, George Turner, and Xander Ferguson all going off. And Ewan Ashman, Nathan McBeth, and Will Hurd. They all make their way on. But my profile name has changed, and I can't change it back. I think it's just YouTube. Hopefully they change it back to what it was initially. Because they went through a patch where they had everyone as their @ name rather than their usernames, and then they changed it within about a week. So hopefully that's going to be the same here. They got a bit of negative feedback from doing it last time. He needs to win 11 in a row to break Nick Millett's 17 now. Oh, ball stolen by Scotland just out from the Tonga line. That's a big shot from Ben Tamefuna, and that might be a deliberate knockdown from Philemoni. Going to be the penalty to Scotland. Actually, we are all wrong. It's Cyprus with 24, says Akaris. I think she said, yeah, Ruby went Tier 1 record. So what tier are Cyprus counted as? Are they Tier 2 or Tier 3 in the world of rugby? I'd assume Tier 3, right? And I like how you sort of gave us a chance there, says Fleshin. It's going to be tough, isn't it, that game? Can I have some mayo with my chips, please? You cannot, because I don't like mayonnaise. So I don't have any on me. Tier 3, says CP. But yeah, knocked down. Oh, they're going to do a TMO check. I don't know if this is worthy of a yellow card. He starts his tackle quite wide here, Philemoni. But they're only like 10 metres out from the line. So this would be an unfortunate yellow card for Tonga again. It is not a joint record. Never heard that before. Let me check. And Cyprus Deer 987. Is mayonnaise a sauce? What? Well, that's a bloody good question, Gertis. What counts as a... Oh, they're giving it as a yellow card as well for Philemoni. They can't keep 15 on the field at the moment. But, yeah, what... Like, I call it a condiment, I guess. But then people call mustard and ketchup and tomato sauce a condiment as well. So what qualifies? It's a dressing. And a condiment, says Stephanie. So a dressing, I guess, makes sense because you're dressing up your salad, aren't you? But then you're saucing up the salad. Well, no, you probably wouldn't sauce up a salad, would you? You could. I don't think it's illegal. Rolling maul here for Scotland. Ewan Ashman with the ball in their hands at the back. Currently sitting 45 metres out from the line, and that is going to be another penalty advantage in favour of the Scots. Now, quick backline movement goes in behind, so they will return for the penalty. I think it's please and tease. You might be right. Yeah. No, I hadn't thought of it that way. You might be onto a condiment, says Flexion. In Tonga, we keep getting cards. Island, hold my Guinness. And Mayo was like, Botox is probably not good for you in the long run, says Ruby Tuesday. I don't think most things aren't good for you in the long run, unfortunately. That's just life, though. You know, sitting here doing 50,000 hours of live stream, that's probably not recommended, but it's all right for now. Nicely taken here for Scotland now, looking for this rolling maul. Never trust people who don't like mayonnaise, so I guess you can't trust me because I'm not a big fan of it. I have a story behind it, though. I almost got force-fed it at primary school, which is a weird sentence. You had to be there. But yeah, because of that, I was traumatized by mayonnaise and have never gone back since. Now going off to the right-hand side, little shuffle there from Kyle. In fact, that time it was Ollie Smith. Now being wide, Ashman actually overrunning that one a little bit, but had to get back, retreated. Instead, they gave the pass to Rory Dash. Do you like aioli? I don't think I've tried aioli because I thought it was too similar to mayonnaise. But the other week, I was getting all confident and thought about how I might try it, and then I didn't. Sounds like I'm 5. But nice run from Christie. 15 metres out from the goal line. Here comes Ewan Ashman. Or being dragged down. My Solomon Ikata still playing a 14-man Tonga. Nice saddle of the dummy from Fergus Burke. Tries to spin. He tackled me off the ball. I just heard someone shout, so I'm not sure who that was. It might have been Sione Tuipulotu, to be fair. I thought it was one of the Tongans for a start, but he does sound similar to some of these Tongan players. Now going off to the left-hand side. Big collision there. That ball's loose, and another penalty going the way of Scotland again. Chips and Mayo, like Michael Jordan said, stop it, get some help. And traumatised by mayonnaise, says the rugby commentator, says Barbrick. Was the Mayo rotten? It was not, but it was a whole big situation. I watched the watch-along from Ireland, respective. You'll be amazed for the amount of swearing the Irish pundits make. The Irish pundits were furious about the Irish team. Says Mornay Lagrange. And came from the rugby state for the Mayo trauma story, says Gertis. 3 changes being made now by the Tongans. Bringing on some reinforcements. Paya in the front row, same with Sam Molly. And then also, I believe it is Lokatui who makes his way on. Nobody scored in the second half yet? Not yet, no. I'll be honest, first 11 minutes of the second half, not a lot has happened. To be honest, like we've seen some attack from Scotland. We saw a little bit of attack from the Tongans early on in the half. But we haven't really seen everything that people wanted to. And we have good there. Nope. A bit static at the moment. Stephanie says feeling music. Although it does seem like this will be Scotland's big chance to be able to get over the try line. Here comes the rolling maul. This one's starting to move in a little bit of a sideways direction. They're being told to use it once. Ewan Ashman would like nothing more than to use it over the try line. Get his first of the contest. He was able to get 2 last week up against the Argentines. I believe that's Sione Tuipulotu at the back now, hanging on to possession. Ben White fights for the ball, breaking away there. Tuipulotu 2 metres short, but Tonga onto the ball. That should be their penalty, and in fact they have managed to steal it instead. Just a metre out from the try line. Lotu Anisi going to move up to 5 out. Steak and kidney, says Richard there. No mention of it being equal with England, sorry. And beat that spread, Tonga. Says Tick Bush Tom as the app there. What was your username, Tick Bush Tom, out of curiosity? And Go Tonga says pleasanties. And also we're there, Go Tonga. And there as well on discipline. Yeah, they've done very well though, not to give away the penalty just out from their own goal line there. Oh, and time is off. Only 13 minutes through the second half. Pepper steak. I don't know about it. I don't say that, mate. And I need to get off the 0-0-0-0. And my aunt let me eat as much mayo as I like because I'm special. Says Cool Story. Welcome in, Cool Story. I think you may have messaged just before, but someone was asking after you earlier on. They were wondering where you and your auntie were at, but now we have found out you are right here. I've said another opportunity has gone begging out there on the field. And now chance for Scotland. 45 metres out. Someone's got to score soon. I just searched and doesn't say that. Says Yanni. And second kidney pies. Says Legend, we hear the bagpipes playing again. So the crowd are trying to get Scotland back into this. Fergus Burke going on the right hand side. Offload now to Tom Jordan. Just running out of space to be able to work with though. Right next to the sideline, Ben White, short ball to Ewan Ashman, who has dropped that ball forward, and Sonatane Takalua's done the same. We go back for another scrum, and Lay's chips on buttered bread. And why are Irish people swearing like that? I thought swearing was forbidden on the YouTube channel. I assume you're talking about like a watch-along, right, of a show doing the reaction. Like, swearing's not forbidden per se on YouTube, but we just don't really swear on the channel. Too much commentary is getting much better, Hamish. Says Zachary there. Yeah, this game has reached a weird patch where there isn't actually a huge amount to talk about. We've seen a lot of repeated movements. That one, at least that time, a little bit more intent from Scotland with Ewan Ashman running onto it. But, again, just ball put down. Currently 14 minutes through the second half. We've almost seen 1,000 metres made from the Scottish. 332 made by Tonga compared to that 902. Swearing can get you demonetised, but not taken down. Says Big Rig. Oh, free kick goes the way of Tonga. Now, currently they are still inside of their own 22. And I'm enjoying watching the Tongans hold Scotland, says Flesh. And yeah, they've actually done quite well. And the fact that they've been doing it with 14 men out there on the field too this year went 3 times better than I thought it would for South Africa, says Cool Story. One goes into touch. Crowd are clapping along. I don't know what this song is called, the one they're playing on the bagpipes at the moment, but anytime, like, they play it everywhere. I don't think it's the Scottish national anthem. Like, it's not Flower of Scotland. And I don't want to hum it because I'll probably get copyright claim, but it's like the classic Scottish bagpipe song. Does anyone know what that song's called? And it's a pretty impressive crowd considering it's Tonga. Yeah, this crowd for Scotland all throughout their test matches has been thoroughly impressive. How much ball does Scotland need to increase that score? Says Neil. Ironically, it's the same thing that people were saying about South Africa yesterday up against the Irish. But, like we mentioned, it wasn't really the game plan for the South Africans to score points. Highland Cathedral. I think George has it on his Spotify playlist. We were driving away on a holiday. I think it was last New Year's. And he ended up blasting it on his speaker in his car as we were driving to said location. But it's a bit of a banger, to be fair. It could be Highland Cathedral or Wild Mountain theme. Time. I assume that would be actually from Bar. Good luck, Tonga. I like all the island nations. And Scotland want to win the 5 nations in 4 months, says Big Rick. Who's the nation you don't count, Big Rick? Is it Italy or Wales? I assume it's Wales. Now, it's going to be play on. Currently sitting about 40 metres out from the line here for Tongan. Or for Tonga. Scotland the Brave, says the Benji Bomber. They may have switched songs now. Possibly, if anyone is just listening to it now. I didn't realise there were so many bagpipe songs, but like I said, George seems to have them, and that's Spotify playlist. That's kicked downfield. Tonga just give up the possession a little bit too easy at this stage of the contest, it would seem. They don't seem to like having ball in hand, although Takaloa getting onto the possession. He can't believe that he didn't win the turnover. Now passed across McDowell. Now Ewan Ashman. He's got such a weird running style, but it works well for him. He takes tiny little steps, but it's effective. That's a miss pass. Goes into touch. I mean, I just hope Tonga can score soon. Well, thanks for saying England sucks. At least we were decent enough to invent the game. We'll always have those bragging rights, says Akaris. They are in action just around the corner. Hundreds of bagpipe tunes, mate, says Barbrick. My auntie actually ended up destroying her Achilles. Or I think she ruptured it or she tore it because she decided to try and dance to the bagpipes while she was at the pub. Because a bloke down there had bagpipes for a work do. So he started playing a song and she ripped her leg apart, unfortunately. Fun fact. Well, it's not fun for her. It's out for 6 months, but yeah. My best Scottish band is Orange Juice. I'll take yesterday's Wales against the Scottish team, says Fleshin. And don't you forget about me, Breakfast Club. Ben Tamefuna looks like he is going to make his way from the field. This second half, it's gone nowhere. Did she dance on the tables? No, she just leapt into the air and just went down on it and ripped it all. And yeah, didn't go well. Ben Tamefuna, busy man out there. I think they just said he made 22 tackles. A lot of stories like that if you come from Glasgow. Says Pleasant Tees. Now, that one's going to be thrown in. Ewan Ashman goes back to the right-hand side. We do see that George Horner is now on there. That's a hospital pass to Stafford McDowell. And then on to the ball for Tonga. They managed to get themselves another turnover. Big bump off. Ashman went a little bit high in the collision. Sonatane Takaloa again going for a grubber. There was no need for it. And now Tonga once again just give up the ball. And Pellegrini had a stretch throughout Super Rugby this season where he looked like prime Dan Carter. He was insane throughout this year, Patrick Pellegrini. And then they started benching him, and which made no sense. He was playing phenomenally in the starting lineup, and then they said, right, we're going to use you for 5 minutes at the end of a game. And then Moana Pacifica started losing contests. And Scotland 21-0, yeah, it is still the same score as it was at halftime at the moment. Oh no, Ewan Ashman, just a big collision there. Is this the strongest Scottish team? It is not. No, they've made quite a few changes compared to the side that we did see in the last match up against Argentina and the week prior to that up against the All Blacks as well. Now backline movement. This is going to be another yellow card more than likely against Tonga for reaching out, trying to get the interception. It's going to be another yellow card for a deliberate knockdown. Once again, as soon as they were about to return to 15 men on the field, Tonga get themselves another card. Scotland struggling against lowly Tonga. And also I dived into the kiddies splash pool as an unruly teen and almost took my nose off. Says Ruby, that sounds painful. Who's the player name who does cartoon little steps? Ewan Ashman. He has a weird running style, but it works well because he just pumps his legs and he goes, he goes smaller steps than anyone else, but he just motors along. That's cool. Easy to beat in New Zealand when it's not run properly. It's because they never let Māori run the team, especially have been beaten head-to-head by a handicapped New Zealand. Are you going to cover England, Argentina? We certainly are. That one's starting up in around 35 minutes' time for our live stream. Dawn Fundermover breaks through, and we got the first try of the second half. It has taken 19 minutes, but up against a 13-man, or I think it's back to 14 now for Tonga. But the big gap opening up in that midfield where Finianisi was defending. Wow, I'm blurry. There we go, that's fixed it. And we have got there my cousin's Scottish husband broke his leg dancing on a table drunk in Dublin in his kilt. It collapsed. He had no underwear as a true Scot, says Fleshin. I do one for the mover. That now makes the score 26 points to 0. And George Horn already changing this game as well since making his way onto the field. Man, use those brains. Says Nars Williams. How many yellow cards have Tonga actually had in this game? Is it 3 now or is it 4? I think it's 3. But they're trying to catch up with how many we saw from the Irish. Their game early on. Hey, Hamish, let's hear your Scottish accent. I don't think you actually want to hear that because it was really bad last time. And I haven't been able to do one ever since because I was just dying inside a little bit. What happened to Tonga? They just haven't been able to really get into this game. Scotland have had a majority of the possession, and anytime Tonga have had half a chance, they kick the ball away and just give it straight back. What kind of dance did your auntie do for her ruptured Achilles? She just jumped in the air at the start of like a Highland dance, I think it was. And yeah, it didn't last long. And 26-0 up. And now 28 with that kick going over. With the 20 minutes remaining. I have Argentina plus 9.5. It'll be an intriguing one. Like that one didn't go 10. Well, what was that? I think that was actually in front of the kicker, is what Tonga have been free kicked against them for that one. Did you nap after the games yesterday? You don't all notice? I managed to get about 4 hours sleep. I think it was. How about a British accent? That wouldn't be much better, I don't think. I used to be good at accents, and I feel like that was back when you could do an accent badly and not get cancelled for it. I'm going to have to put yellow on the bottom of the screen. Says Pleasanties. And also we have got the Tonga needs something, says Ruth. Yeah, at this stage it just feels like Tonga need the game to finish. Because they just keep on getting yellow carded. Any chance that they've been almost back into the... Well, not even almost back into it, but almost getting a chance to score, they kick the ball to Scotland. Oh, front row's going down. I wonder whether or not they've just got one man playing the bagpipes, because if they have, that man's going to be gassed by the end of this contest. He has been blowing for a long time. As well as score predictions, so we need a card prediction. Says Big Rig. How many cards will Pumas Roses get? I really hope it's 0, but I feel like it's probably minimum 2 cards in that contest. I'm going to say 1 yellow per team, but it could be 2 yellows for one side. It's becoming more prominent than tries. Yeah, it actually is. You know, we saw more cards in that Irish South African game than tries. In this game, I think it's almost even. I'll go 3 cards, says Big Rig. So who's getting the 2 in that case, Big Rig? And Bulldogs barking at the Pumas. I think World Rugby is in a good space. Not really. But I feel like there's enough potential there that they can get it back to where they need it to be by the Rugby World Cup in 2027. I got to change the rules. Yeah, I feel like there's just too many variations on laws at the moment. Now we have there Scotland versus Tonga 2023 World Cup was ridiculous. Tonga doing cheap shots, headshots, and getting away with it. Says Powerbite 92. Yeah, they certainly have not got away with a single thing throughout this fixture. Bring back rucking and turf. And torn Achilles must have been brutal for your auntie. It usually takes 8 months to recover. Says Mornay, will you be streaming the World Cup draw on December 3rd? We certainly will be. We found out the time that it is going to be taking place as well. So it is going to be evening for us here in New Zealand. Kind of mid-morning for you guys in South Africa. And then also in the UK, just mid-morning, a little bit earlier. As well, where rugby is really bad at promoting their own games. The fans are having to fight to find out who is playing, who and when, and how to watch it. So is any non-rugby fan ever going to discover rugby? Probably not. You know, they limit where highlights can be shown as well. It has to be from the broadcasters themselves. So, you know, that again hurts you. I was at a penalty try yesterday, not a yellow. Or why was the penalty try yesterday not a yellow? I think the referee just wanted the half to end. He could see what South Africa were planning to do, which was just pretty much keep on milking it as long as they could. Plus, he had just given them a yellow card, which perhaps he should have given that one as a penalty try instead. Looks like a change is about to be made here. Huddle will be making his way onto the field for Tonga for the last 15 minutes of this match. Bagpipe players I can get a bad condition called bagpipe lungs. Lungs not good, says Stephanie. Toge has a silly attitude. I think he will get a card if the Pumas struggle or strangle them early. Now that one's going to be kicked in behind, and that is a good kick. Pellegrini having a wait for this one. He had 3 men chasing after him, manages to put the ball into touch, but a big territory gain again from the Scottish here. A few American YouTube pundits have appeared, so things are moving slowly, says Barbrick. Yeah, and it's trying to break into that American audience, isn't it? That's the big one. Is your auntie always in a party mood? No, not really. And she probably won't be now after deciding to do that. She has recovered from it, of course, but she will be more hesitant to jump up in the air, breaking out into a random dance without thinking about the risks first. Evening Hamish, does URC return next week? It does, alongside the Sevens too. Are also going to be returning, so we will be covering both on the channel alongside that South Africa versus Wales game. Another rolling ball here for Scotland, 5 metres out from the try line. Referee got the arm out for the advantage, and Ewan Ashman goes in for another Scottish try. And while All Blacks beat Wales 52-26, they certainly did. And we have got there, the scrum penalty wasn't yellow because it would have been meant uncontested scrums and thus benefited Ireland, so the ref chose not to. Says Bowbite 92. And America is slowly growing. They're still stuck on the no pads bit, says Gerald. Or Gerhard, I should say. And South Africa will win the Quarter Cup with France in second place, says Caparis. And also at this point, I just want Tonga to get on the board, says Big Rig. And yeah, Ewan Ashman going over for try number 5 in this contest, with Scotland now sitting 33-0 up. And thanks to the special person who made me a special person with a gift of membership. Says on the right, that was Carl, or CP from Cape Town, as you can see him. Will you be covering URC and Sevens next on the channel? Yep, so that is the plan. Both of them going to be covered to a certain extent next week. It's going to be a tricky one because there are some big matches actually taking place at the same time as other big games as well, but we're going to be balancing it out. What are your thoughts on Malcolm Marx winning the Player of the Year award? He was probably the third choice for me out of the South African nominees. Once again, I don't know what Oxenshire has to do, but I mentioned about how when Malcolm Marx got Player of the Match in that game up against the Irish, they had at that point, I believe, already announced that he was Player of the Year, but I knew from him getting Man of the Match for that contest that they were never going to give it to a prop, just in general. Like I don't know what Ox could have done better throughout his calendar year with the fact that he's played so many minutes for the Box, but yeah, it seems like it's not meant to be for a prop to get it. Now that is going to be another penalty. That one is going to go the way of the Scottish this time. Go Saracens, says Gerhard. And when it's Vicious in Cape Town. It also seems like an odd choice, but he had a good year, so says Big Rig. Isn't your auntie more or less your mother's age? I'm not actually sure how old my auntie is. It's my dad's brother's wife. So I don't actually really know. IRB is too reactive. Says on the right. Now ball again for Scotland after Tonga had it for half a second and then gave it away. Offload from Tom Jordan on his back. Sit into the hands of Josh Bayliss. Only 12 minutes remaining in this one-sided affair, 35-0 at the moment in favour of Scotland. That next game between England and Argentina is hopefully going to be a lot closer. Kyle Steyn running down the wing. He has got the inside pass, finds it there. George Horney is one of the best at support running around the world of rugby, and he will get another try. Ox deserves it, in my honest opinion. He has won many games, solid as a rock, says Ruby there. What about Louis Bielbiaré? He's one that I think because it's only taking into consideration international rugby, I think that him not playing in the July internationals hurt his chances a little bit, because theoretically, like if you're looking at just internationals, which I think that seemed to be what they were trying to say is the only eligible criteria, because of course he's done brilliant things for Bordeaux throughout the top 14 as well as the Champions Cup, but in internationals he's only played in the Six Nations theoretically, and then also these November internationals. So compared to a lot of those other guys, has played a lot less time out there on the field. But similar to what they said for Henry Pollock, how he had only played a couple hundred minutes worth of game time based off the criteria of what they were looking at for the breakout player of the year. Now we have got the weird choice to select Marks. He's probably been the best in the last month, but was poor against the Wallabies and at Eden Park. Yeah, he hasn't had his best year, I don't think, Malcolm Marks. He's found his form in November, though, massively. He's been one of the standouts there for the Box. But yeah, throughout the earlier stages of the year, it was talked about whether or not he was actually still at his absolute best. I think Louis Bielbiere deserves it. So here's short videos. We have got there, it is great. Oosterrand and the Beast can't win player of the year. Then it seems we need a front row player of the year. Although they'd just give it to a hooker, though, in that scenario. You'd have to do a prop of the year. Or a prop or lock of the year, maybe, or something like that. But now, it's going to be in the hands of the Scottish again. It's hard to argue against Marks, but over time, I think Ox deserves a badge. So here's Ruby. We're now going off to the right-hand side again, shifting this one. Oh, it hits the leg of Kyle Stain. Does end up going into touch. When does Scotland score? Or when does Scotland stop trying to score? When the 80 minutes is up. Currently, they're sitting 42-0, and it looks like they have picked up an injury here, Scotland. Not sure what this was. Is there a World XV going to be announced as well? I think they did last year, didn't they? When did they announce that? I think it was at the end of the November Internationals. I'm just going to have a quick look, because I think we did a video on it. How they announced a team of the year. I think they did a team. Or was that my team of the year? Could have been my team of the year, maybe. Right, we'll have a look. Yeah, World Rugby Team of the Year. That was on the 25th of November, 2024. So that may actually... Has it happened already? We might be quite close to it. If there is going to be a Team of the Year announced, it's 42-0. You think they just stop? No, I think they'll still keep on pushing themselves and see how many points they can physically get. And this, Holland deserved it due to where'd that go? Due to being the best line-out jumper in the world this year, on top of his 95% double-digit tackle completion rate. And so the tall lad Holland is the breakthrough player of the year. He certainly is. And Artie Savia did better than Marks. So here's short videos. And next week, we will know Team of the Year. Do you know the exact day, CP? And you're saying next week as in next week South African time, right? Because currently we're Monday here in New Zealand, so I assume you're meaning like in the next couple days? My Team of the Year will be the Springboks, no questions asked. Or it's like Team of the Year as in like players from teams. Not like a team in general. And Tonga might lose. Or they will win the fight after the game, says Naz Williams. Now another scrum for Halo. And penalty goes to Scotland. Tonga thought it was their quick tap, but it was not. I can't wait for the men's and women's HSBC Sevens Cape Town December 6th and 7th. And rugby is a game of the animal kingdom because next week international season ends. So do they have to wait for the end of the last match before they can announce it? I guess they theoretically would have to, wouldn't they? They'd have to wait for Springboks versus Wales to finish. Maybe. I don't know. Or maybe they just say that game doesn't count towards it. Congrats, Scotland. You beat USA and Tonga. And there's still one end-of-year rugby test. Most likely, yes, SCP. I wonder whether or not... Was there a game in November last year at the very end? Or did we have one that was finished beforehand? I'm going to have a quick look, but currently Scotland have got the ball again. 7.5 minutes remaining. Are you intelligent, brother? Are you freestyle your convos? Says Naz Williams. I think it comes down to a lack of thinking about what I'm going to say, which is why sometimes I just end up repeating the same stuff. But we get there in the end. No, Rossi already had to release 15 players to the club. Says Ruby Tuesday. Yes, they may even announce it as soon as tomorrow. Or today. I can't remember whereabouts they actually announced it last year is my only problem. I think it might have been on the World Rugby website. They've got 15 new posts at the moment. But none of those are the Team of the Year. Yes, would be a laugh. One try for Tonga. It would be great to see them get one, although I do think that we're going to see Scotland get another one before the end of this contest. Now, quack hands, nicely done. Rory Darge cutting up the middle, needs the support, and there he is again. George Horn in the perfect spot there. And it's another try awarded to the Scottish. They are getting close to 50. Or after the England-Argentina, Hamish, that could be a possibility. Just trying to remember which game took place November near the end last year, or whether we had all the games finished earlier. I'm going to quickly check that. November. Yeah, so they announced it on the 25th of November, but there was still the game Ireland versus Australia on the 1st of December afterwards. So I think they may actually announce it after the England-Argentina match, perhaps. And Tonga still hasn't scored. Says Ty Trini, and yeah, there's almost the 50 points on the board for the Scottish. George Horn gets it over. It's possible to score a try in 18 seconds, so in theory, could Tonga still win? No. I don't think they'll win, but they can still score. They've only got 5 minutes to be able to do it, so it is not going to be easy to do. But we'll see what happens. See there, George Horn celebrating that one big time. I think the window closes after England versus Argentina. What are your thoughts on the Nations Championship? It's an interesting one. It may take away from the World Cup a little bit with the fact that you've got all of the sides in the World Cup competing up against each other in 2 different tier competitions. But as long as, I guess it's no different. There's just going to be a different cup that's available to be able to win. Now 5 minutes left. George Horn will roll this one back. He's on the road to a hat-trick here, by the way. He's got himself 2 tries in very quick succession. Now going off to the left-hand side. Chance for Scotland to move this ball on again. Kick downfield from Kyle Rowe. It's a low skinning one, almost a 50-22. I feel sorry for the Tongans. Says Neil. And is it dinner like last year? Remember, Peter Satoy missed his flight and only just made it. And also starting to think Scotland deliberately threw the Argentina game, says Barbrek. I don't think they deliberately threw it. They just, after that yellow card, they couldn't find their heads again. And I think they gassed themselves out early in that matchup. They just tried to go too quick, or too quick, too early. And that kind of hurt them. See there, Tonga actually decided to take the quick throw to then kick the ball into touch. But I think it was taken back maybe there. So it is going to be the line-out throw for Scotland. About 10 metres out from the Tongan line. Again, I see Nations Cup fixtures the next year. Wales, England, Scotland coming to South Africa next year. It's happening in the beginning of July. Then playing France, Italy, Ireland in November. 30th November, 24th. November 24th was Ireland versus Australia. Last year, 2024, 1st of December. Or it would have been the 30th of November if you were in anywhere else. For us in New Zealand, it was on the 1st of December. But yeah, local time in Ireland, it would have been the 30th. Our Los Pumas made Maul Bulldogs. Says Ruth. And Argentina's way better than Tonga, though. Says short videos. Now another penalty advantage. Ewan Ashman just short of the try line. Tonga trying to hold him up. Now they do actually have to release that ball. Tonga got mangled badly. This was always going to be the warm-up for England versus Los Pumas, says Ruby. Yeah, that is a game that a lot more people are keeping an eye on. We will be starting our live stream for that match in 15 minutes' time. So, of course, anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It's going to be live as soon as the match gets underway, as well as beforehand for a bit of a build-up. Argentina is a good team to bet on. Says short videos, and Port Tonga says get out of here. Impossible, but England are buoyed up. And Scottish Rampage, says Ruth. Ready to throw this ball in for the Scottish again. 5 metres out from the line. Scotland want to put the 50 on Tonga here. And they're in a position where they can actually do it. As long as they get this rolling more right. Ewan Ashman, anytime he's within a couple metres of the line, he looks almost certain to score. Definitely off a rolling maul set piece. Here they go again, Scotland. This one has stopped. They've been told to use it once. Now starting to move again, Ewan Ashman. Thinking about breaking off the back. That was almost side entry from Tonga, and they score the try anyway. Ashman gets himself another. Scotland get the 50. So you see the World Rugby team was named, or of the year was named on the 25th. Says Kiwi Rob. I believe so. That was when we released the video on the channel, which of course would have been the 24th up in the Northern Hemisphere, but for us here in New Zealand, it was on the 25th. So it was after the England versus Japan, Scotland versus Australia, and also Georgia versus Tonga matches. And not even 3 points. Here's Kitsano. And also we have got there we go, 50 up for Scotland, says Georgia. Pretty big statement at the end of the November internationals. They're just checking the grounding. And this game shows how the new comp will be like next year. Says Samoan POV. That is true, because, well, does it? Because Scotland won't be playing Tonga in the new competition. Scotland will be in the top group alongside Six Nations sides as well as New Zealand and whatnot. When is the World Cup pool announcement? It is taking place on the 3rd of December. And that one has gone over, making the score now 56-0. What did I say earlier? Hamish Ashman will have a big impact off the bench. There's Calibrate Games. Yeah, well, he did score 2 tries last week up against Argentina, so he definitely should have. And now he is also chasing the hat-trick here. For George Horn, what's the highest whitewash? It's much higher than this. Oh, drop ball there from Scotland. Will mean that the last chance of the day does go the way of the Tongans, about 25 metres out from Scotland's line. And well done, Scott, says Neil. And also we have got there Japan and Fiji getting these thumpings. It will lose its flavour, says Samoan POV. Yeah, although the Fijians last week up against the French, they only lost by 13 points in their match. It was actually a much lower margin than what we saw between Ireland and Australia. We saw the Fijians, they were beaten by 20 up against the English, which, you know, that's getting a little bit high. But once again, Ireland beat Australia by a bigger margin. We saw New Zealand beat Wales by a bigger margin. So, like, yeah, I think that Japan, for me, are the question mark in terms of what they'll be able to do. But then they were close with Wales. They were 24-23 against the Welsh, and also had, you know, not a bad showing up against the Irish. Now, William Harvilli, he's going to be tackled by George Horn. Storm starting here by the stadium, Hamish. Hopefully we can play Argentina and Australia next year. It will be a shame if we don't. Says Morne Lagrange. I don't think South Africa will, mainly because of the way that it's worked out with that New Zealand tour. See that Scott Barrett isn't sure if he wants the captaincy? I don't blame him. Like, it's one of those jobs that, you know, for one, I don't think he was accustomed to the role anyway. That's going to be the knock-on from Tonga. So that will end the matchup, and that is going to be 56-0. The end score. It's frustrating, but at least Tonga can get better. Says Tristan there. And we've got to remember as well, this was Tonga's first game of the November internationals. Their only game of November. The last match that they played was in the Pacific Nations Cup third place playoff game, as in the Dubai Sevens season. Says Katsanel, it is taking place next weekend for the Sevens. And I hope you will be a great team one day. Wish you well. And damn it, under 62.5. I thought I might lose. The benefit you had was the fact that Tonga didn't score any points. So Scotland were left to score them all themselves, and they got 56. And then I like how Scotland are testing themselves here. A tough one, given a Pacific Nations a go and padding out your record. Says Fleshin. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Scotland, throughout this year, they have played quite a few sides. You know, they played the Māori All Blacks in New Zealand. They played Fiji. So, like, I actually like the fact that Scotland are giving those other sides that most sides go, nah, we're not going to play them. They're actually giving them a chance. Tonga, I assume that if they hadn't played Scotland, they wouldn't have had any November internationals and would have just stayed back in Tonga. So, you know, it's at least given them a run out. But player of the match is Magnus Bradbury. Nonetheless, we've got about 10 minutes till that next live stream between Argentina and England. Anyone who is new to the channel, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It is greatly appreciated. You all being here, and like I said, we're just around the corner from going live again for another stream on the channel. But thank you all very much, and I will see you all for the next one.